Hi, Anna.
Hi, Bill.
10 years later.
Can you believe it?
No,
Almost to the day.
pretty close.
Wow. Wow.
So I'm kind of rebooting dialysis from the sharp end of the needle.
Mm-hmm.
I've been blogging in a couple vlogs lately. Just posted one against the Patient Act. So, but I thought I'd like to do dabble in video. So what I'm hoping is this will be a side-by-side video, and we can talk, and I can update what I've been doing. Here, last we left you, you
Mm-hmm.
had a uh, um, deceased donor transplant. You were well. I don't. That's. I'm not exactly sure what exact point we left you. So why don't you update us from the
Oh,
the SEN in 2010 or 11? I don't know when that was.
when we were changing the world. Well, the SEN did change my world. I went from the world of a solo dialysis all by myself at home with my next stage machine. Kidney transplant, who would have thunk it? And after the kidney transplant, did a little bit of lobbying. And then I took the leap. I left the law school, went to Burning Man. After Burning Man, started at the ESRD network of New York, network number 2. So one of the ESRD networks that have oversight for dialysis and transplant, and I worked at the oversight for network 2, which is New York State, where I lived. So
Is that
city,
oh?
all
So it's a
119
lot of
dialysis
people.
centers. Yeah, it's over almost 30,000 people in New York State.
Wow.
So
How
right
many
around
centers is that?
297 independents, and then the other mix, there's about, I think, 60 some odd DCI, 60 Fresenius, and then some small. DaVita's around 60, they're neck and neck.
Oh, okay.
So the two LDOs are really going neck and neck.
Do you guys
Um,
have a certificate of need in New
we
York?
do, we do. It's a little bit more difficult to open
Right,
up a
right.
dialysis center. So, but I have to say the states and I work very closely with the state examiners through my job, and compared to what we did on DSEN, where we were writing
Spell it
our
off.
opinions and our
Yeah.
experience, and now I'm seeing other people's experiences from the other side, to the point where eyes when they hear that I'm a patient, and then when they hear that I'm that patient, because we have fun.
Yeah, I
So
mean, people read it, and
yeah.
I think that was it was fun, and I think for me though, I think back on that, and it just seemed like at the end it's like, what am I doing? Because I didn't know what I was pushing for. I did the TEP. I don't know if you remember the fluid TEP. And I'm in
Yeah.
there with Ray Hakeem, and Alan and John DeGarris, and you know Tom Parker, Agwell, Levin. So it's really I'm gonna agree with whatever the last person said something to me. And
But
it
you're
was just a
still gonna
really
bring,
hard position to be put in, and I'm like, and
but
so
see,
really what I thought is like I just need to step away, and I worked. I just went back to work through the union, and I'm retired now though. I've actually retired
finally,
out of the union. I'm taking disability from the union so that I just can't do work right now. It's it's too much, and so yeah. So I want to get back into this, into the mix. I have a lot of concerns about our community. I think I think there's a role for someone who's unaffiliated. Although I am affiliated, of course, with Northwest Kidney Centers and the Kidney Research Institute. Or all the stuff University of Washington's doing, the Center for Dialysis Innovation. Um, Big fan of all the people working on it, but at the same time, um, I don't know. I don't understand why some of the advocacy is so muted in the face of some real challenges. So I think, yeah, firing up the blog again and see where it goes.
And you've been missed. I sat next to Benjamin Hippen, Dr.
He
Hippen.
dropped
I
me a
sat
note
next
the
to
other
him
day.
in
I
meetings.
have to read a paper he sent me. I was going to read it on the plane, but instead I watched two movies. I watched Dunkirk and Atomic Blonde. Going back from, I was so burned out. I just needed something
Yeah.
just to watch. But yeah,
Well, and
Benjamin
and
Hiffen.
you've
Yeah,
been.
so he's somebody who disagreed, and we had very civil discourses about things around the transplant issue. He's um,
Hmm.
readers of the blog, close readers of the blog, remember that our advocacy. Um, well, we are. I'm still concerned about the idea of paying people for kidneys uh, because I
And
don't
I
think
agree.
enough thought has gone into what that would mean for people who need hearts and livers, organs that aren't easily there aren't alternatives for the transplant, like dialysis. So when I start hearing people who need hearts and livers and everything campaigning to pay for people, it'll be more meaningful than hearing people who need kidneys campaign for that.
And I'm also kind of sick and tired of people throwing money at a problem. And you wrote something once about the dialysis you get is really based on your zip code. Where do you live? And it could be the same with transplants. I think that it really is a slippery slope when we start paying for things. I'm all for tax credits for altruistic
It
donors,
shouldn't cost
but
anyone to donate a kidney.
yeah, but it's something
We can
that,
make them
it,
whole.
yeah, it's really something that is very personal and very controversial, but also the minute we start paying for things and the minute we start incentivizing it financially, what part of the culture is going to be taken advantage of?
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
it's cool that you
who's,
saw him and still had that connection, and he just dropped me a note. So people are reading it, and right now I feel like I'm pretty far out there. I'm not linking to a lot of things. I've been thinking about this a lot. It's like what is going on in the problem, and so I think a lot of what I want to write about would be applicable to anybody who uses Medicare as their primary uh, insurer. And I think you know that's the role of that but I need a check on it. I need to try to explain it to you and see if I can bring you along with my
yeah.
thinking. So I'd like to keep doing these video blogs that's can be chattier and I'm gonna just try to keep blogging. I've got some ideas for the next few blogs about gloves, the misuse of gloves,
Hmm.
and the sort of infection theater that we get into. It seems like, and concerns around that, and but overall, big picture stuff too about how in your relationship with the healthcare system. Are you still Medicare primary?
I
Were
have
you ever
private pay
Medicare
now.
primary?
I was Medicare primary for when I left school. So I went Medicare primary for about a year, and then I went Medicare secondary and started with the network. So as soon as I started, when I left the law school, I had a gap of about a year in employment. So that was when I went Medicare primary. Um, the thing is, even when you're Medicare primary, if you're doing traditional fee for service, you still only get 80%. So we have a
Yeah.
whole bunch of people that still can't foot that 20%.
Haven't you
And
heard that the government pays for dialysis?
but yeah, 80%.
No, you hear that
Um,
all the time. Oh no, it's taken
yeah.
care of. The government pays
Well,
for everybody's dialysis. That's the story, and
well, and
it's surprising who says that how many people say that. You should just know better. That with just a couple more words, you could describe the situation a lot better.
And you also can, people need to understand there's this dirty little secret about paying for healthcare, about making sure you can pay for healthcare. It's called the involuntary discharge.
All
And
right.
there are people who they need dialysis to live. And if they can't pay their insurance premium, if something's been screwed up, if their Medicare is not covering them, then they get a discharge, and then they have to find their dialysis in a hospital emergency room. That's only when they're emergent. So it's really really difficult.
So,
And
one of the things we talked about at the symposium I was at on Wednesday, I think, in New York, was that a case study was presented. And it began as a 88-year-old man who showed up at the emergency room, that's how I remember it, needing dialysis. It had a catheter placed and began using dialysis. And over the next, I believe, 4 years or so, through moves and changes of units, he wanted to keep the catheter. And he was 80, 90, And I think, part of the case study was, he's very reliant on his upper body to transfer, things like that. Really just was, wanted to be by his kid, his daughters, and but was real reluctant to have the surgery for fistula, and was kind of ambivalent about dialysis generally. And in the end, the person had a complication unrelated to dialysis and chose to withdraw, and was able to die peacefully in his 90s with his family around him after a week of saying goodbye and then having a giant potassium filled dinner, and the person died. So that happens. But the point is that, well, with the metrics we have, that really weights in favor of fistulas and against catheters, on like the QIP. What about units that wouldn't have accepted him when he wanted to move from one location to another, to be close to a different daughter or whatever it was? But are we starting to really restrict patient choice by well-meaning metrics that have improved the mortality rate of people undergoing dialysis, but at the same time, it seemed like in this case, at every stage, I would support this person's decision just to stay with the catheter. As much as
I
I
think
think fistulas are preferred.
I think gatekeeping, and really it's something that's really difficult, but facilities do gatekeep. And I've heard about facilities that are gatekeeping because of vascular access. I think that in the new scope of work that I'm seeing and the changes that I'm seeing, there's less of a focus. It's more on bloodstream infection reduction. But I think the vigilance to get the catheter rate lower did put some people at a disadvantage. And I think the most important thing then is that patients and family members really talk to their doctors, because at no point were they looking for 100% fistulas,
Right.
because there should always be outliers, and there should always be someone. And if they're 80, and I'm really hoping
88.
that 88 pushing 90, quality over quantity at this point, although it's the quantity of life, that also they use palliative care, because you can still just turn off the UF and keep the fluids off. So that last potassium filled dinner, at least he
Oh
was
yeah,
in
no, he
comfort.
had.
Yeah.
So the twist was that the person I was presenting with, he was a physician. It was his grandfather. So
Oh
the
wow.
individual had very good information
Yes.
available,
He had good knowledge.
and
Yep.
but like anyone who's ever had a grandpa knows that even if you're a nephrologist and a well-respected one, that he can just still say nah and
Yeah.
just leave it at that. And so yeah, so I thought it was like, well, no, I thought it was a good point, something to so where are we going with this? And I think I kind of have an answer, a different vision from what they're saying, and but we'll leave that maybe for other discussions. But
Other talks when we really talk
yeah,
about
but
basketball.
we had to
I
say
need to know.
it's a 10-year anniversary. I think it changed. You know, I mean, it was a crazy ride back then, kind of, and
We were making it up as we went along. I
yeah,
mean, we really were. It was all editorial all the time.
yeah,
Um,
there's a little bit of pissing off the Asparagus Festival and the
oh
Salt
yeah, well,
Institute
oh
and
come on, and thank you, Dr. Carter. I mean, come on, ER got us a influx of hits, and then
yeah,
there's the
that's right.
infamous Oscar challenge you gave me, where you gave me all the keywords for Google and said I had to write a post for it, and I did. I think we called that clickbait.
Clickbait. It was before
Clickbait.
clickbait was a word.
Yeah. Um, the blog roll, that was amazing.
So that comes up as going forward. That's a lot of work, and then the community links are way out of date, and whether I'll go through and do that, I just don't know.
Oh, you need
Uh,
an intern. You need an intern.
so there was this thing. So I've been trying Twitter too, which I'm failing at because I can't seem to have my links that I post from the blog to Twitter include an image. It just has this grayed out. So I
Hmm.
need to learn Twitter better. But one of the things that came across the Twitter thing was the top 75 nephrology blogs, most influential nephrology blogs. And I was reckoned to be number 10, and it was kind of funny. And because I
And
just
that's after
started
being
blogging lately.
dormant.
Well, they had me blogging 3 times a week, so they had just checked it in the last week because I just happened to have been starting to blog again. So I thought, wow, I didn't know there were 75. I was trying to think on my list. So I went through there, see what they were. It stopped at about 54 and included like Reddit subreddits.
Oh man.
So it was just a company, ginning up to be a jump page to blogs or something, but they
Yeah.
wanted their badges on your page.
Well,
But
yeah, they were
but
doing
the
web
sad but the
crawl.
sad point is that there is not really 75. I guess maybe if you counted all the various kidney pages from individuals and moms and dads,
Yeah.
uh, but they
It's
weren't counted.
still it we're a niche. But how can we be a niche when there are over almost 600,000 people on dialysis now,
Five hundred
and
thousand, and then a hundred and
500,000, and
something
then
with transplant.
oh
Yeah,
god,
the last USRDS was at 500, no, 490 some thousand, but because it increases all the time, and the USRDS is a year out of date,
wow,
so you can probably say it, well over 500,000 right now,
and
which
only a hundred
is
thousand with transplants.
well then about I think it's 150 to 200 something like that.
Yeah,
150 kind of comes to mind. I think it's about 650. I have to check my numbers. Yeah, I used to know all that right at the top of my head. I just
yeah,
looked at USRDS, so I have to start digging in. I don't like how they present the data as much as they used to, though. It used to be
it's
the data was easier to find on there, or at least things I was interested in.
yeah,
So
it's
I'll try
big.
to get used to that again. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, no new machines. 10
Nope.
years ago, it's 2007. I had been using NextStage for a year, basically, after they ripped Access out of my hands at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh, there's going to be a new machine in 6 months, right? There were going to be either a new one that used a sorbent column. There's
Mm-hmm.
going to be the new one that used the Access technology. Only Baxter was going to do it. There's
Mm-hmm.
going to be this new effort out of Portland. Uh, there's an effort coming from the UK. I mean, it's still going. There's quantum. The point is that these new machines have been 6 months away for
10 years.
10 years, and
They've done.
the number of people using home hemodialysis has increased probably, but it's still in the range of 2%. you know, and so and we're kind of being pushed backwards by these recent MAC decisions. And so I guess one thing on the blog is, I just, I hope more people would use home hemo, and I'm obviously going to continue using it. But I think advocacy wise and writing wise, thinking wise, it has to be about the people, the 90%. That
Mm-hmm.
it seems like, focusing on home hemo and better options that you can do, and are possible that I'm doing. But it's kind of like like an out, like we're just using that as an excuse for this ongoing, you know, it'll be 500,000 people in center by the end of this next year for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just that has to be front of mind, and it's not to say I don't still think home hemo, more frequent dialysis, overnight more frequent dialysis is just like a no brainer to me, but um, that dog ain't gonna hunt. There's 90. There's no way you could even get a significant number of people home at this point in any sort of timely manner. So, looking out 5 years, you got to talk about how to help these people in center. But I think there's ways to do it. I think you can do it, and that's what I really want to talk about.
And really, it's the majority of people that, and they don't have a voice. And, they're not going to be able to watch these videos. The people that are going to be able to watch these videos and read the blog are the people that can really influence their, it could be their family members, it could be their healthcare workers, it could be their
Yeah.
nephrologists.
But
Um,
we have an opportunity with this blog that, people at CMSR do check it in.
oh yeah,
If you are doing something that gets you on renal web, then, it's worth it if, 5 decision makers, you reach them, even if, versus 600 ER reviewers or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
I mean, it's fun. No, don't get me wrong. I loved it when the Daily Dish linked to us. It wasn't actually Andrew Sullivan because he was on vacation, but totally. But it's not like that is really. And I think, if we're writing for the one person who can actually decide, one way or another on something, that's fine. It doesn't mean that you have to reach all 500,000 people who use dialysis. I think so. I'm fine with that. It's just something's got to give, and the only real, and it seems like most of the community is captured by the LDOs, frankly.
Oh,
Um,
completely.
I mean, from the advocacy, everything is muted against them. There's and so yeah, there has to be something else going.
And
And
it's, and now we're looking at one-stop medicine. It's not just dialysis. Now we're looking at your medications, your pharmacies. Now we're looking at a lot of mini monopolies when it comes to healthcare. And you don't have much of a say as a consumer. So you get in
that's what
that
the
line where,
Patient Act is talking about. And it seems
and
to have a lot of momentum, so I'm pretty concerned about it.
well,
So,
I think it's all financial driven. It's not healthcare driven.
oh, for
You can
sure,
spin it
yeah.
any way. People can spin it any way they want, but the minute it becomes the McDonald's of healthcare, that's what you're getting. And we're already suffering from McDonald's diet for generations.
Oh yeah, 10
Um,
years ago we were talking about how they've exchanged the ethics of a business for the ethics of medicine, and it was a bad deal for people who need dialysis when that happened.
yeah,
So so yeah, I think there's lots to talk about. You're off to London
I am off to London. Yeah, but you're not that
for the
far after
holidays.
me.
I'm
Yes,
going
I for
in
Christmas.
February. I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually going to dialyze in center when I'm over there, just to not have to schlep things.
Ooh,
So
Are you going in central London, or
yeah,
we'll
London
be
Clinic.
talking about that?
The
Okay,
London Clinic. Been
very
there
cool.
before. Tea in China. You get your tea
Mm-hmm.
in actual bone china, and the crust is cut off the sandwiches, very civilized. So
Oh, you and a sandwich at dialysis. Boy, all they're missing is wine at this point. You only got wine in Spain?
no, no,
Is that the only?
at the
France.
the
France.
Tasson in
Uh,
France, outside of Must have been outside Lyon, possibly Dijon. It was a long
Mm.
time ago. I have to start traveling again. But I'm glad I did it when I did it. So, all right. Well, happy holidays.
You
Um,
too?
I think so. Today's the 17th. Um, yeah, we'll have another one of these. I hope. See if I can get it up online, and we'll go from there.
Awesome.
Thanks, Anna.
Okay. Bye, Bill.
Bye.